With so many cameras, especially mirrorless, being used today in video production, setting up a camera rig that meets your needs is crucial. Today I'm going to show you how we set up our A-cam rig and why we think it works well for what we do, and it might work for you too. Hi, I'm Dave Stanton with Encore Multimedia. I'm the cinematographer for Encore. We are a full-service marketing agency, and as part of our services, we have a video production unit. We are well equipped, meaning we have the latest cameras, gimbals, jib arms, lights, and more that we need to do just about anything in video production. Of course, every video production setup needs an A-cam rig, and this is ours. The heart of this setup is a Sony A7R III camera. We already own this camera when we bought an A7S III, and I like the autofocus and other features so much on the A7S III that I decided to make that our B-roll camera that we use mostly on a gimbal to shoot almost all of our B-roll. So the A7R III became our A-cam, which we use mostly to shoot interviews or people on camera. This is a high megapixel camera, and I like the way it makes people look when they're on camera. There are a few problems with using mirrorless cameras in professional video production. Audio is the biggest. As you're probably well aware, you can't control audio much with just a mirrorless camera. Another challenge is mirrorless cameras rarely have built-in ND filters, and honestly, if you shoot video with just a mirrorless camera, a lot of clients don't think it's that professional as a fully tricked-out cinema-style rig. Hey, looks matter. So here's how we put together our A-cam rig. Let's start with what you might call the foundation of the whole rig. This is a Tilta full cage made for the Sony A7 and A9 cameras, and that includes the A7R III. I really like Tilta products, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. The cage came with a top handle, and we added the base plate. I already had two 19-inch long 15mm rods from Redrockmicro, so I added those. Why so long? Well, it allows me to use our zoom lens and a matte box on the front end and have more room on the back end for the mixer and the battery. In this case, I have the Tascam DR60D Mark II audio recorder mixer here, and then a V-mount battery plate on the very end from Came TV. All this configured in this way makes the whole rig well balanced and in roughly the center. As I mentioned, we primarily shoot interviews with our A-cam rig, so getting good audio is crucial. Therefore, I needed something on the rig that could do a good job with audio, and this Tascam mixer does the job. I rarely use more than one microphone on an interview, and when I'm using a lavalier or shotgun mic, I just plug it into a splitter cable, and I use both ends to plug into the mixer, channels 1 and 2. I set one of the channels to a level that looks good, sounds good, and I set the other channel a little bit lower in case suddenly somebody says something loud. You know how it goes in audio, right? That way I avoid clipping. This mixer can handle two mics on channels 1 and 2 with 3-prong professional connectors, and there can be audio on channels 3 and 4 as a stereo pair via a 3.5mm connector. So you could plug, let's say, a small shotgun mic directly into the mixer and have that up on the camera. This unit is a recorder. It uses standard SD cards for the media. I touched the record button twice actually on the mixer as a backup, even though the mixer is connected to the audio mic in on the A7R III. This is a low impedance output on the mixer specifically for connecting to mirrorless cameras, and as you can see, I use a short stereo cable with a 3.5mm male plug on both ends for that. Now let's go back to the front. I got this Genus matte box because I like the fact that you can adjust it up and down, and it's also a 2-stage for 4x5 glass. I already had a Sony FE PZ 28 to 135mm zoom lens, and the opening on the Genus fits the front outer diameter of the Sony lens perfectly, so it helps support the heavy lens. It came with a French flag, which has come in handy on many occasions. We didn't have a variable ND screw-on filter or anything like that for this lens, but we did have 4x5 neutral density glass and the matte box. So when I shoot outside on the bright Texas days with the zoom lens, I have plenty of ND to help me get the depth of field that I want. We also already had a follow focus unit from Redrockmicro, and that works with this lens and all my Zeiss prime lenses. Now let's go to the back again. This is a Cane TV V-mount battery plate with a rods attachment. It features one D-tap, one 7.2 volt, one 5 volt, and one 12 volt plug. I have a D-tap cable that goes to our Adamas Ninja 5 to power that. The 7.2 volt connects to a cable that has a dummy battery connection for powering the Sony A7R III. And in the future, I'd like to get a short cable that connects the 5 volt output from the battery plate to the Tascam mixer to power that, because the mixer does eat up a lot of alkaline batteries, and then I can power everything with just one V-mount battery. Lastly, I've secured the cables with some Redrockmicro clips that I had. Okay, now let's talk about what I really like about this setup, the pros, if you will. Number one, everything is in one place, audio and video. It's easy to set up. Typically, I just put on a lens, I add the matte box, add a battery on the back, put my Adamas Ninja 5 on top, hook up the HDMI cable, and it's ready to go. I throw it on my Manfrotto tripod. It connects to the MVH608AH head in a quick release fashion, so we use it mostly on the tripod. Boom, I'm out there and shooting. I've placed it on sandbags before on the ground as well for low angle shots, and I have carried it by the handle. It's not too heavy, and it's well balanced. It's easy to monitor audio and hook up any mic or any other audio source. The matte box is a 2-stage, so it handles multiple ND or other combinations of filters. The Tascam mixer comes off real easily, so I do that when I'm going to do some VO work, hook up my really good mic in the sound booth. It's easy to do follow focus, and it's pretty easy to zoom given this lens. You can still see the screen on the back of the camera, but it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky to get to all the buttons just because of the cage and because of the audio mixer, but I can get to stuff, so that's okay. I can power the camera, the Adamas Ninja 5, and eventually the audio mixer with just one V-mount battery, and it lasts hours. I can turn the battery plate on and off, and that conserves power. Battery plate is adjustable. The start-stop button on the beautiful wooden handle makes it much easier to start recording, stop recording, than trying to find that tiny little button on the top of the camera. The tilt-a-cage is great. I especially like the locking cold shoe on the top of the handle, and the HDMI converter cable holder that came with the kit, along with the handle. This works fine with prime lenses as well, this whole setup. Now, what I don't like, some of the cons, there aren't very many, but here we go. You can't really shoulder hold it as is, and because of the Manfrotto system I'm using, I haven't found any kind of a shoulder pad I could just click on like a quick release. That'd be nice, but we don't do much shoulder holding. We use the gimbal most of the time. The Cane TV battery plate is not the greatest. It gets loose real easily. It needs an Allen wrench to tighten it, and you can tighten it like crazy, and it's fine for a little bit, then you use it, and then it comes loose again. It doesn't fall off or anything, but it's wiggly, and I don't like that. But you could find probably a better battery plate easily. Plus, it's limited on D-tap outputs. Can be a little bit difficult to tilt an A7R III monitor from the flat position. With everything on here, it's tough to get the fingers in there, but I usually do, and it works out okay. Okay, so let's just wrap it up here with my impressions of this overall rig, and that's simply that it really is a terrific all-in-one rig for an A-cam. That's the bottom line, and it's particularly because of the audio. I love having the audio on this rig in a mixable and professional way. It's just great. So, and you could build this out any way you want, any kind of matte box, any kind of lenses. You put any kind of batteries on the thing that you want. I like this mixer. There are other small mixers, but the point is everything is one beautiful unit that allows you to do everything you need to do, and that's really what an A-cam should do. So, all right, there you go. That's the Encore point of view. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and make beautiful videos.